Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan MS Pearce. This is a US political update extra video giving you an insight into the world of Donald Trump and his cabinet and his administration and how, oh my goodness, it's looking ever more dictatorial. And I am going to show you some things that should, if you are a decent human being, make you throw up in your mouth. And or at the same time, have a shiver running down your spine, and not a good shiver, a like, OMG, what is going on here? So giving you the context, remember, I played you some stuff last night whereby Trump was priming his audience, the audience being the electorate, the media, with the idea of him becoming a dictator. Let's listen to what he said yesterday in an Oval Office meeting.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now, and they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense. And
so whenever he says a lot of people, blah, 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 it usually translates into this is what I think, or this is what I would like people to think. So when he says a lot of people are saying maybe we'd like a dictator, what he's saying is I'd like to be a dictator and I'd like people to want me to be a dictator. Now, this, unfortunately, was not a one-off. I mean, it was caught by the press as well. Trump is literally now saying that many Americans would like a dictator. Here we've got Barron's.com reporting on it. But he then had a cabinet meeting and he said the same thing. And when you start hearing him say the same thing a number of times, you need to connect the dots.
But then he goes on television and says, oh, Trump is a dictator, he's a dictator. And a lot of people have been, so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, you know, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator, I just not.
If I stop crime, then, and they claim I'm a dictator, then we might as well have a dictator. So I'm a dictator. This is the second day in a row he said this, says this also. This is an intentional normalization effort. So just be warned. Now, if you think, oh, that's just Trump's bombastic rhetoric and blah, 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 let's just see how the cabinet meeting that you can see taking place there unfolded. And it is one of the most disturbing things. Just before we get to that, let's also hammer home this idea of him wanting to be a dictator. And so instead of saying the word dictator here, now he talks about doing things as president as if he was a dictator.
So I would have much more respect for Pritzker if he'd call me up and say, I have a problem, can you help me fix it? I would be so happy to do it. I don't love, not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think
I have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the President of the United States. This is absolutely not true. You have the separation of powers. You have the three elements of the American government. You've got the executive, the White House, the president. Then you have Congress. So you've got the Senate and the House of Representatives. And then you have the judiciary, Supreme Court, and then all the lower courts down beneath that. They are separated out so that you cannot have this opinion being a reality. I mean, this is not just wrong, it's unconstitutional and insanely scary. Let's hear him say it again.
I don't love, not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No problem going.
I have the right to do anything I want to do. My goodness. Now let's listen to Lori Chavez de Rema, who is in the Department of Labor. And she is going to talk about this banner that I talked about last night.
It's been so important because they all touch the Department of Labor, and I have the opportunity to work with every single one. If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker.
Come and see your big, beautiful face on a banner outside the Department of Labor. You are a transformational president, etc., etc.
On a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker, along with the American flag and President Roosevelt, because we're bringing business and labor together. And I was so honored to unveil that yesterday, and everybody is taking note of that.
I was so honored to unveil this yesterday. This is a rhetoric and this is a setup of a dictatorship where you have the president sitting in front of a bunch of flags and gold, and then having his cabinet members go around the table obsequiously saying how bloody wonderful the man is. And it is vomit-inducing. It is really, really unbecoming of a cabinet meeting in the United States of America. This kind of image is not what I think we should be celebrating in the United States of America. That is what you would expect on a dystopian movie concerning the United States of America. Now let's go to Steve Witkoff, who is the envoy to Russia here. Ugh.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
Listen to his intonation. Literally listen to the way he is saying what he says here. Like, I can't work out whether it's an act. Like, this is what I would want to sound like if I was acting like someone that had my head so far up the president's arse that, you know, whatever, you can finish that sentence. Like, or is this what he genuinely feels? Like, the intonation of his voice is so like, oh, you're so wonderful, and oh, if only they could, and this is really, really disturbing. So disturbing.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that Nobel committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
Look at how happy Trump is. Look at how much he loves this. This is entirely what he loves, and they all know that. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, how much of this is a form of manipulation of Donald Trump? Because just like foreign leaders come and offer him a golf course, just like Tim Cook comes and gives him some gold, and so he gets a tariff exemption. These guys have to say this so that they keep their jobs, and Trump loves them in their role. It doesn't matter what the data it is that they are generating. It doesn't matter the reality of the outcomes of their activities within their role in whatever department it is. What matters is that they turn up at a meeting and say how freaking wonderful Trump is, and that the sun shines so far out of his arse that the world is blinded by his magnificence.
To receive that reward, beyond your success, is game-changing out in the world today. And I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
Oh my God, they're clapping. Look at this woman here. Look at how contrived this is.
Today, and I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that. And there's only one thing I wish for.
That is so disturbing. Like, honestly, if the Biden administration was doing this, Fox News would be going freaking mental. But this is all normalized. It's okay because it's our guy. It's our guy that's doing this. As Tim Miller says, I honestly can't make it through 40 seconds because my vicarious embarrassment is so intense. Scott Bessent, now the Treasury Secretary, is just fawning over Trump to his face.
Sir, as we've said very often, economic security is national security, and our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You have brought us back from the edge. You have the overwhelming mandate from the American people. You're restoring confidence in government, a topic that is on the front of everyone's mind, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's independence comes from a political arrangement between itself and the American public. Having the public's trust is the only thing that gives it credibility. And you, sir, are restoring trust to government. You.
So I'm assuming South Park are just going to parody this at some point, because here Midas Touch has kind of put it to music to show how absolutely horrendous this all is.
If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker, along with the American flag and President Roosevelt.
Working for this.
I do wonder about Marco Rubio sitting, and we're going to end this video with Marco Rubio. I reckon he's dying inside. I reckon he's absolutely dying inside.
And President Roosevelt.
Working for this government, for you, is the greatest honor of my life. I tell it to everybody, and I really do feel that way, and I thank you.
You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement. Your respect for law enforcement is so incredible. It's making a difference.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
Well, everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You have brought us back from the edge.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about to receive that reward.
It's pretty great to celebrate Labor Day with Builder, who loves labor. The great Trump projects have come from the very men and women we're going into this weekend to celebrate.
Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful.
Howard Lutnick at the end just saying, "You're awesome." If you are watching this video and you still like Donald Trump and you still think he's the right man for the job, do you think, A, do you appreciate this? Do you think this is good? Is this what you like seeing? Are you not embarrassed by this? And now switch it. Like, if you saw this happening with Obama or with Biden, how would you be reacting? Honestly, how would you be reacting? Would you be thinking this was a wonderful thing to see Obama being obsequiously fawned over by a bunch of yes men and women? Trump also takes the opportunity to just stick the knife into Marco Rubio's back here.
Marco has been, really, I think you're born for this job. I don't think you should ever run for another office. I don't think you should, really. You're so good at this.
He's dying inside. I don't think you should run for another office. Like, I don't know, for example, President. Trump humiliates Marco Rubio. Trump slimes Marco Rubio's presidential ambitions and suggests he's so good at being Secretary of State, he should just stay in a position when the next Republican wins. Is that what Rubio sold his soul for? To be embarrassed on TV? I keep talking about canaries in the coal mine because there are indicators of growing autocracy. There are indicators of the desire of Trump and his administration to be authoritarian, to be a dictatorship. And I think this is an indicator. This is a real warning sign. This is one of the warning lights blinking furiously. Now, what was it I heard yesterday? That 30% of people are naturally inclined towards authoritarianism. And if that kind of sociologist's conclusion is justified, then, that explains an awful lot. And I guess, we can see that through different understandings of political spectrums, or maybe the political compass, people like Jonathan Haidt's political compass, where you split it into left-right economics and up-down is in terms of authoritarianism to libertarianism. And although many people claim that they're libertarians, it used to happen on the Republican side of the aisle, where you'd have Paul Ryan standing up and holding up Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged and saying, "This is my Bible." It kind of, yeah, we're all libertarians, but then all they want to do is constrain people's personal rights. Things like abortion, sexuality, all of these kind of social moral domains that they want government to control that, but they want government not to control corporations. And so you can get different like understandings of totalitarianism to libertarianism within different domains. So like, in the social moral domain, I'm totalitarian, but in the corporate economic domain, I'm completely libertarian. But it's that bit that I cherry pick my libertarianism. So when I say I'm libertarian, it's like Nigel Farage used to say that the UKIP was a libertarian party, but they didn't want anyone to be able to move in the world. You know, you're born into that country, you got to stay there. Well, okay, you know, Ayn Rand literally was a first generation illegal immigrant from Russia, if I'm correct in remembering there, who was an atheist believing in abortion. So that's interesting because all that movement, that abortion, that belief in God or lack of belief in God thing was an anathema to so-called libertarians. And with someone like UKIP, it's like, you can't move. Well, that's surely your first right as a human, is to move from A to B. You know, these arbitrary lines in the sand that we call national borders, you know, for a proper libertarian. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not actually making a statement on immigration at all. What I'm saying is libertarians are have double standards when it comes to stuff like that. And, you know, this is why the Libertarian Party of America is actually pro-immigration, because they have to be. If you're a true libertarian, then you believe, you know, people are gods and they can kind of move where they want to, do what they want, and blah, blah, blah. And it's about self-policing and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I digress. But the point is that there is an appetite for authoritarianism because some people like strong leaders that are going to be morally robust, or I guess like robust in terms of their use of power to establish what they think is a strong moral code. But I would call it officious and authoritarian. But if you like the attack on these kind of social moral areas, then you're going to like that kind of authoritarianism. So yeah, that is a problem. So there will be a significant portion of any country we're talking about. So when we're looking to reform in the UK and that right-wing populism that's growing, I think there will be a sense of authoritarianism that will be fine for many people in that context. And the same with MAGA republicanism in the US. And so, you know, despite, what was it that I saw a video on? I'm going to find that video actually, just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about here. Yep, this is the one.
I'd rather have Donald Trump as a dictator for 4 years. Absolutely. This country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
If he says it, then I'll go with it. And if he wants to be a dictator, then so be it.
I'd rather have Donald.
So that kind of thinking, that kind of psychology exists in a significant portion of the electorate on both sides, right? Totalitarianism isn't necessarily a right-wing thing. It's just that in this case, that's the context. But so he will receive a lot of support for his very dictatorial proclamations. And he's generated this culture around him that is the culture of a dictator. And it's insanely, insanely worrying. This makes my toes curl, and it does make me feel sick just listening to it. Let me know what you think.